Good morning. We're here at, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. It's a fort, a French fort in Lafayette, Indiana. It is the southern trailhead for the Wabash Heritage Trail. It's a 13-mile hike all up along the Wabash River, goes through parts of West Lafayette and ends up at the battlefield for the Battle of Tippecanoe. So it's going to be a tremendous amount of fun. This is a hike that I've wanted to do for a while now. Just never seemed to work out. Big shout out to Deanne for giving me a lift. I dropped my truck off on the north terminus and she gave me a lift down here. It's my brother-in-law's mom. She lives here in town, so a big thank you for giving me a lift down here. Makes logistics so much easier when you don't have to worry about getting back. So it's, like I said, a little over 13 miles. Should be a lot of fun. I am told that there is a huge eagle population along the river, so I've got all the camera gear. Hopefully we're going to get some really good bald eagle photos. So I got to keep my eyes open and not just stare at my feet the whole time. So we're going to get going. So apparently this area was an old French trading fort. Back in the time that this was the Northwest Territories, or even before that, when this area was still under the control of the French, there was a lot of fur trading, fur trapping, and they needed these military forts to protect those trade routes. So apparently this area here, this small little park along the river, is part of those fort structures that provided the fur traders with some minimal protection. That is not an original fort. It's a reproduction, I'm sure, but it's kind of neat to see that old kind of architecture and think that that's what, you know, the little military outposts would provide. So we're gonna get moving, gonna get my gear all adjusted up and ready to go. Figure it'll probably take me 5 or 6 hours to do this. There's not a lot of elevation. I think even when you look at the map, it's 100 foot or so elevation change. It's pretty flat because once again, you're just kind of walking along the river. The river is actually to my right is the Wabash River. So I'm kind of excited. This should be fun. It's the first long hike of the season. I've done a couple other little short ones, but this one is my first decent mileage, so we're gonna see how the legs hold out after sitting on the couch all winter. So let's see what we can find on the trail. All right, so you start off with about just under a mile of walking along the sidewalk on the highway. Now we are getting back into the paths. From what I understand, this trail is about 75 or so % natural trail surface and about 25% paved. So apparently there's some spots that we're going to walk along either paved bikeway, or we have to walk along the sidewalk on the side of the road. So you know, it's mostly natural trail, which is great. That's what I prefer. So we're heading now down towards the river, and this is where we'll start the sections of the trail that actually run right along the Wabash River. So there's some little campsites, or not camping, more picnic sites. There's actually a sign, "No camping along the trail." There is a little map on where we're at along the river. And also no mountain bikes. As much as I imagine mountain biking these trails is fun, as a hiker, when there's mountain bikers around, it can be a little scary. They'll come flying around a corner at supersonic speeds, and you have to be very careful. So no mountain bikes, no horses. This is just for people wearing their hiking boots. So we're coming up on the river. Nice and calm this time of year. The spring rains really haven't hit, so the water level is pretty low, pretty decent. I imagine during heavy rain seasons, this is probably potentially all flooded areas. I did notice that on some of the comments on this trail that somebody who was out here about a week ago said there are some muddy spots, but they're really easy to get around. So hopefully we won't get too dirty. But now we got to keep our eyes open for the bald eagles, because they're supposed to be out here. But you can see how nice and calm and peaceful the river is today. We're 2 miles in. It's an absolutely gorgeous day. It's in the 60s, gonna get in the low 70s today, so it's perfect weather. The river is gorgeous. The Wabash River really is an amazing resource. It originates all the way out in Ohio, and something like 2/3 of the state of Indiana eventually drains into the Wabash, which then goes into the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. So not only is it this huge part of our natural drainage in the state, but it was also, like we talked about at the fort, it was the interstate of the fur trade 200 years ago. Another little tidbit, and we're going to do a video on this later in the season with the missus. The Wabash also was the key water source for what at the time was the longest canal system in the country, and that's the Wabash Erie Canal, that went all the way up from Lake Erie, all the way through the corner of Ohio, all the way through Indiana, and fed into the Mississippi River. There's only a couple of parts that even still have water anymore. It was abandoned in the mid-19th century, but it was a real historical piece of the development of Indiana, and really this Midwest section that at the time was the source for so much of the country's food supply, all the farms that were here. So it's a really critical resource in the history of how Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois developed economically, agriculturally, and in our country's background. So it's really kind of interesting. So I did see one eagle. I think it was a juvenile. Didn't have the full white head, but he was eating a piece of fish, and before I could get the camera telephoto lens on, he had flown off. But we did see one, so I'm hoping that we'll see more. I'm kind of glad to get away from the power plant. It's kind of disruptive when you're really trying to enjoy the peace and quiet of nature, and you hear the screaming of the turbines at the big power plant on the river. But you know, have to have our electricity. But now we're past that, so hopefully things will quiet down. I'm gonna come up here and probably another mile and a half, and I'll have the first of the 2 river crossings, because I have to jump over to the east bank for a little while before we cut back across closer to the end. So when you look at the map, this trail is really cool, because it looks like the Parks Department, the County Parks Department, has left the easement off the river as natural as possible. So when you're looking from the satellite view, you'll see the Lafayette, the city and the communities. You'll see all these little fields, farm fields peppered around. But right along the river, there's this nice strip of woods, and that's where the Wabash Heritage Trail is. It goes right through these woods. So on one side you've got the river, on the other side you've got cornfields. And it's really great that the County Parks Department has invested so heavily in this resource, especially because so few people know about it. I didn't know about it until just a couple of years ago. I was just clicking through potential trails and like, hey, what's this? Looks like it could be fun. So we're gonna keep our eyes open. There's a couple of cool things to see. I'm not sure where they are in relation to me, so we'll see there when we get there. We have seen some mountain bike tracks, so somebody doesn't know how to follow the rules. lots of deer tracks. The deer must really enjoy this like pre-made cut for the trail. So we'll see what else we can find. All right, we're now on a little bike path section. We got to go under State Road 26 and then circle over the pedestrian bridge, and then we cut over to the east bank of the Wabash. So this is a nice little bike path. I've seen some runners, some cyclists that runs along the river, little riverfront paved path. So kind of would be a nice little place on a day like this to, you know, go out with the grandkids on their bicycles. So it's really really pretty resource for the people of Lafayette. So we'll see you on the pedestrian bridge. A lot of times on these videos we talk about filtering water. So I'm really wanting to do a filter effectiveness test here. So I'm looking for volunteers. If anybody wants to come out here with me, we'll try a couple of different water filters. There's a little source of water right over here, and we roll the dice and see what happens. All right, well, here's one of the fun parts about hiking that they don't tell you about, but we've got to cross this here little creek. And there's only one way to do it. I don't know. Maybe there's another way to do it. Let's look down here. Oh yeah, this is much better. I'd really rather not start with wet feet this early in the hike. So, oh yeah, it's definitely better. Yeah, that was definitely better than walking through this fishy smelling nasty runoff. So good thing I had enough common sense to look one way or the other. Actually seems like a wonderful idea for a aspiring Eagle Scout that needs to do their project. Come out here and build a little footbridge. Huh. Back on the trail. We are right at about 3 miles, just shy, so we're a little bit light of a quarter of the way through our hike today. We're going under US 231. So underneath the bridge, I don't know, for some reason going in underneath bridges, whether I'm hiking or whether I'm paddling, always makes me a little nervous. I think I've watched too many movies where, you know, there's a gang of bandits waiting to mug me under the bridge. I mean, it's Lafayette, Indiana. I think it's probably relatively safe. All right, back to the trail. All right, we're now on a little bike path section. We got to go under State Road 26 and then circle over the pedestrian bridge, and then we cut over to the east bank of the Wabash. So this is a nice little bike path. I've seen some runners, some cyclists that runs along the river, little riverfront paved path. So kind of would be a nice little place on a day like this to, you know, go out with the grandkids on their bicycles. So it's really really pretty resource for the people of Lafayette. So we'll see you on the pedestrian. Okay, so we just crossed the pedestrian bridge, which there was a neat little sign back there that told the history of the bridge. It started off as the first covered bridge across the river that linked West Lafayette and Lafayette, and this old covered bridge in the mid 1800s, and then it showed the evolution of it. And then I guess when they built State Road 26 bridge, they turned it into a pedestrian bridge. So it's really kind of nice. And now we're back on this bike trail, and I'm gonna get off the camera now because it's either a beaver or a woodchuck. I'm gonna try to get a picture. I want to mention a piece of gear real quick. My favorite outdoor gear company, Outdoor Vitals. These sun hoodies are absolutely amazing. I think I've got 3 or 4 of them. They're not cheap, I will say that. They can be a little expensive, but they're super lightweight. They breathe really well. They wick really well. It takes a lot to get them stinking, which when you're out here, last thing you want to do is you can't stand to smell yourself. They're actually really good at keeping the odors down, and when you're fair complected like me, makes the world a difference. So I highly recommend, if you're looking for these sun hoodies. I've got cheap ones that I got off Amazon. These are my favorite. Like I said, I've got a handful of them. Highly recommend them. Check out Outdoor Vitals and pick one up. They don't sponsor anything. I don't get any free equipment. Buy what you like. I just like to share the little bits of equipment that I pick up that I really find value in. And even though these shirts, like I said, they're definitely more expensive than what you can get from Temu, the quality is outstanding, and I absolutely love them. So if you're looking for good quality sun shirts, definitely check out Outdoor Vitals. Hey, well, we're over halfway now. Took a little break, had some water, had a snack. There's a little remote controlled airfield down there. The guy's out there with those little radio controlled planes, you know, doing aerobatics and stuff. It was actually kind of neat. I sat there for a minute and watched. There's also a big disc golf course here. There's people out playing disc golf. I've never tried that. I've got a friend of mine who gets into it. Supposedly it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, they've got grass is absolutely green and gorgeous out here on the course. So we got about another 3.5 miles till we cross back over to the west bank of the river, and then that's the final push back to Battlefield Memorial Park. So we are on the downward slope. Everything here is closer to the truck, and then I feel like I need to find a microbrewery around here because I've been burning all these calories and they just naturally need to get replaced. So get back to the truck, I'll hunt around and see if there's some place to grab a sandwich and a craft beer, you know, celebrate my first long hike of the season. The trail is really well maintained. Obviously we're still on this paved section. Hopefully this will end quick because this is just uncomfortable to walk on for distances. But and even the more woods, you know, natural terrains, there were a couple logs that we had to step over, but that's probably because of the storms we had a couple weeks ago. There were the tornadoes that ripped through just north of here. I'm sure they got beat up down here also, so it's not to be unexpected. But the Park Service does a great job of maintaining this trail. It's been absolutely gorgeous. There's almost no garbage. It's one of the things that drives me nuts. You're out on these trails and you see where people just drop their trash. There's almost no garbage. There isn't debris all over, trees down. It's an absolute beautiful place. Like I said before, it'd be a great place to bring kids on the bikes and hit this paved section of the bike path, because it runs right along the river. So even on the little bike path area, you still get to be right along the river. It's been great. So we're gonna keep plugging away. So, sometimes you come across half-buried cars out on the trail. I'd seen photos of these from the trail, but I had no idea where they were actually at. So, there's the buried cars. So, just one more waypoint along the Wabash Heritage Trail. So, one point, depending on when you come and do this trail, this being the end of March, none of the water points are turned on yet. So I do have, obviously I have my filter. I can just go down to the river and grab some water, which I probably will do here shortly. But if you're doing this trail during the summer season, there's like right at the pedestrian bridge, there's a little park with a water point. Once you get to the east bank, there looks like there's a high school, some football fields and stuff. There's a water point. Unfortunately, we're too early in the season. They haven't turned the water on yet, so we're gonna have to filter water, which is not a big deal, but it would just be so much easier if you can just stick your smart water bottle under a fill station. So keep that in mind. Like anywhere in the northern states, they tend to turn off the water in the off season. So back to the trail. Got 4.5 miles left. I just had to jump off the path for some a-hole on a mountain bike when there's signs all over saying it's a footpath, no bikes allowed. So don't be that guy. The douchebaggery sometimes amazes me. There's literally signs everywhere that says footpath, no bikes, and this guy goes ripping through the woods, and then, you know, I yell at him, hey, no bikes. He's like, have a nice day. Yeah, makes you want to throw a stick in his spokes. But anyway, like I said, about 4.5 miles left. We've got probably a 1/2 to 3/4 of a mile to the footbridge, the old trestle bridge, and then circle back up to the park. So seen quite a few people out here, people out walking their dogs, people hiking, trail runners, lots of trail runners. I imagine this is a really great long distance trail running spot just because it's so well maintained and so clear. But I think I'm going to get up. There's a park up by the bridge. I think I'm going to take the pack off for a bit and take a little bit of a break try to find some more water. I drank all my water, so I need to either find a source or filter some. So we'll see you at the park. All right, so we're at the footbridge to get back across the river to the west bank, and then it is a creek hike back to the Battlefield Park. So almost done. Definitely tiring for a first long hike of the season. This wouldn't be a big deal if I hadn't spent so much of the winter sitting on the couch. So let's see what kind of view we have up here. So, a mile and a half left, and I just kind of sat down on a bench for a quick second and started to realize that the first 2 miles of a nice long hike and the last 2 miles of a nice long hike, while the same distance, could not be more different. It's always funny, you know, you get down at a trailhead and you're all full of energy and excitement, and you're like, all right, let's do this, and you know, you're just kicking the pace, and the last couple miles you're just like, oh, just get me to the trailhead, it's I find it kind of funny. So we gotta walk underneath the I-65 overpass here, and then it's a straight, little over mile shot to the battleground, and we are done. It's so close. Now, if I could just keep myself moving. I admit, I confess, I spent way too much time sitting on my butt this winter. This little 13.5 mile hike with very little elevation should not have been this tiring. I should still be going, but I got way too comfortable sitting on a couch. So we'll see you closer to the park. All right. Oh, we're done. Well, I mean, I've got some stairs to climb, but this is the end of the trail. And we're at 14.5 miles, 6.5 hours. It took longer than I thought, but it was a great little trail. I would definitely have preferred if I did it north to south, because all the elevation was at the end. So if I had it to do over, I would have done north to south, and then the end of it would have been poker flat. But all in all, I'm glad I did it. It was really great. If you're looking to get out and get a good training hike in, get some mileage in, and you can do the logistics of getting dropped off, it's definitely worth giving this a try. There's not a lot of trails like this in northern Indiana. I mean, you get down south, there's some, but it was a lot of fun, and definitely would recommend it. So thank you for joining me, and see you next time on the trail.